When you are applying to any career program, it is important that you understand the profile of an ideal candidate that the airline is looking for. So I want to cover that in this video, especially for those of you that may be going through a career program for the first time and may not understand how this works, because I've seen a lot of people that would literally come across a program and they'll think, well, it says I need no flying experience, then I meet the age requirements and I have the grades required. I just need to apply and I'll figure it out along the way. Yes, you may get lucky, especially if you know what you're doing and you're able to speed up your learning process or your learning curve, but it is important that you have an ideal candidate that the profile that you are creating matches, if that makes sense. Remember, the airline has a need for, let's say, a certain number of pilots or candidates for the position, and they want to select the best candidate for those positions. So how do you fit into that? That's the question you should be asking yourself. And of course, do you meet the requirements? Do you have the ability and the skills? Do you have the understanding of what you're getting yourself into? So those are the things we are going to cover in this video. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. Don't forget to drop a like, don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff. It does help. And of course, it helps to push this information to those that may need it as well. So stick with me on this one. I'm going to share my screen with you. So one of the first things that I always start with, okay, when you are looking for an ideal candidate for a position, okay, what are the requirements you set? I'm talking from the airline's perspective, okay, so in this case, TUI. What are the requirements that we need to set out that these airlines must meet? Now, understand that yes, there are some basic requirements that the airlines set, okay, but there are some other things that we don't often consider, especially as candidates that are applying, that these airlines may have as targets. And I'm going to give you an example here. Some airlines may want a certain diverse group within the pilot group, okay, so for example, maybe they want more female representation, they want more a different race, okay, to be represented in the group. That is sometimes some of the targets that these airlines set. Now, of course, they don't share that information, and I take it back. They sometimes share it, but they don't share the distribution of that information, if that makes sense. So for example, an airline might want 50%, just a random number out here, okay, 50% female, okay, and 50% male, okay. They may not really share that during the requirements on the website, but somewhere in the goals of what the airline is trying to achieve, they may state those things. So requirements can be broad, and that's the first thing, okay? It can be a broad area that you need to think about. Of course, we need to look at the TUI requirements that we know, in this case, the eligibility requirements, if I will call it that, and it has, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, all right, that's the age and has your grade requirements, be fluent in English, be eligible to work and to live and work indefinitely in the UK, hold a passport. All of that stuff are common requirements, basic requirements that you need to have, but nothing about this states a goal to have a certain diverse group or things of that nature. But remember, those things can be some of the goals that is set out. One of the other things that I noticed that they haven't stated so far is how many people are actually going to be selected. You know, like I said, last year it was around, in my previous video, it was around, I believe 30 or so. So the point here is there's often some targets that are set by the airline that they don't share, not because it's a secret, it's just that you don't need that information. Now, let's move on to the second thing. Experience, okay. Now they stated that little or no flying experience, okay. So little or no flying experience on their website, to me, of course, communicates that anybody can apply, of course, if you meet the requirements. But remember, just because it says little to no flying experience doesn't mean that, well, you shouldn't have any aviation knowledge at all, because understand that the more aviation knowledge you have, the better you're likely to perform during the selection, the better you're likely to perform during your interviews, the better you're likely to perform even during training, because you already have the experience or some knowledge, okay? So little to no flying experience, yes, it is open to everybody, but understand that you can stand out if you have some experience, some knowledge, some unique, I would say, experience that may help you stand out during the selection process or even help you do well during training. So understand that even though it says little to no flying experience, that doesn't mean that your experience that you may have in that Cessna, or that experience that you may have on the Piper aircraft, or that experience you may have flying the flight simulator, okay, could help you perform well or better than the other person that has no experience in aviation at all. And this leads me to my topic on motivation and your passion for the industry. Understand that the airline wants somebody that is passionate, that is motivated, that is hardworking, which I'm going to cover that shortly. But if you are somebody that is really passionate about the industry, then the airline shouldn't have to ask you to present yourself as somebody with a lot of experience. Does that make sense? Like, if I show up to an interview that stated on the requirements that little to no flying experience, and I come in with my understanding of the aviation industry, and I come in with my understanding of the basic, okay, I'm not asking for any advanced knowledge here, but I'm just talking about the basic information about flying. Or if I come in and say, you know what, I've done some trial lessons in the past, or I've taken up some flights on a simulator, or things of that, it shows that I am motivated, I am interested in this, and especially for a program that is going to be sponsored. That means you are not paying for it, they are paying for it. So they want to see that, they want to see, okay, they want to see that you have some skin in the game, and not necessarily financially, but your motivation, your knowledge, your enthusiasm, your passion. All of those things are things that they want to see. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so what is an ideal candidate? And this is something that I picked right from the TUI's website, and I'm going to... All right, so one of the first things that I would like to say is that this is from the TUI's page, okay? And as you can see, it says what we are looking for. We're looking for candidates to be committed, resilient, and hardworking, and will be rewarded with a dynamic and exciting career where each day is different. Together with your colleagues, you make sure that TUI customers have the best experience whilst traveling to and from their holiday, helping them to live happy. Okay, in that first paragraph, all right, there's some things that I kind of just picked out, okay? They're looking for someone that is committed, resilient, hardworking, somebody that understands customer service. Okay, I want you to see my face. Somebody that understands customer service. Okay, so all of those things are things that you should be asking yourself. How do I fit into this? What are my customer service experiences? How can I share my passion to provide excellent customer service? Okay, how can I share that I am hardworking? How can I show or demonstrate that I have the resiliency? And this will lead me to what we call pilot competencies. But before I get into those, okay, I want to finish something about commitment. Okay, when you're committed to something, what does that mean to you? When you're committed to an airline, what does that mean to you? It means to me, okay, it may mean something else to you, but to me, it means that I am passionate about the airline. I want to be the best for the airline. I want to be there. Okay, this is not me trying to fit in. Okay, I want to be for this airline, work for this airline, and be there for a long time because I really care about the airline. So if you are committed to TUI, how would you demonstrate that? Okay, that means you probably have a lot of knowledge about the airline. You understand the business model. Okay, the other thing is resiliency. How are you going to demonstrate that you're resilient? Okay, what are the challenges you have gone through, or how would you handle challenges that comes with the job? Or how have you dealt with challenges in the past that you can show that you were resilient in that challenge and you were able to deal with it or overcome it? Things like that, right? And of course, hardworking is hardworking. Whatever you find yourself doing, are you hardworking? Are you diligent at what you do? Things of that nature. And of course, like I said, customer service. Now, the second part that I want you to really focus on, which I think is even more detailed, is the second paragraph. Okay, it says communication. All right, we are looking for people with great communication and leadership skills, the ability to remain calm under pressure, resilience to work hard throughout a challenging course, motivation to learn, and ultimately develop into highly skilled professional pilots. You see, that area is packed with a lot of competencies, and that is my initial reference to pilot competencies. Okay, that area is packed with a lot of competencies because you, as a pilot, you want to have great communication skill, you want to be a great leader, and of course be a great team member. So you see, leadership and teamwork is a pilot competency together. All right, so if you're a great leader, you're likely going to be a great team member as well. Okay, your ability to remain calm under pressure, that is a given, especially in the world of aviation where things wants to happen fast. Everybody is trying to get your attention. Everybody wants you to do something. Everybody wants you to solve their problems. Okay, ATC is calling you. Maybe your captain, your first officer needs your attention. Maybe the flight attendant needs your attention. Maybe your passengers need your attention. Maybe another pilot needs your attention, right? So your ability to remain calm and prioritize, okay? And that is where I've come up with this list of competencies that you can see as we talk about them, okay? So the first one, communication, all right? How can you demonstrate your communication skill? Of course, if you are doing your digital interview next, or if you're doing your interviews, they will test your ability to communicate. That is a given, okay? So that is that. Now, the next one is your ability to manage workload, okay? Your workload management skills. How would you manage workload? How would you deal with pressure? How would you prioritize effectively and choose to do what is important, okay, at that specific time? How would you be able to speak up when you find yourself being pushed beyond your limit? Would you be able to speak up and say, hey, you know what, I need some more time? Or would you just cave in and try to do everything and mistakes are made? And as you know, aviation is critical to safety. So as you walk through this application process, think of the ideal candidate. Think of the ideal person that TUI wants. And you want somebody that meets all of this and even some more. For example, none of this has talked about safety as somebody that is safety minded. Okay, not that they don't want that, of course, that's a given, but you want to remember that safety is always number one. So safe operations, somebody that can follow procedures and stick to procedures, whether it's checklist usage, whether it's just following a set of instructions. And those things will be tested along the way, just so you know. Okay. And of course, we have, I think I need to move myself out of the way here. We have your ability to deal with challenges. So again, resiliency comes up, or resilience. And then we have the leadership aspects. I think I already talked about that. Motivated. Okay. I already talked about that. Your motivation to learn, your passion, all of that. And of course, professional pilot. Now, one of the questions that sometimes will come up in any interview, sorry, I think I'm doing that wrong. One of the questions that always come up during interviews often revolves around what is a professional pilot? What does it mean to be a professional pilot? Do you know what that means? Okay, because it's stated here on that page. All right, it says to learn and ultimately develop into highly skilled professional pilots. What does that even mean? What does professional pilots even mean? Okay, how can you describe it? And if you were asked that question during an interview, what would you say? Now, as we talk about all of this, okay, I want you to remember that, we are talking about building an ideal candidate, okay? An ideal candidate, okay? We're trying to build a profile of an ideal candidate, and I'm going to show this again here. So we've talked about the ideal candidate, and that is exactly what TUI is looking for. We've talked about that. Now, moving on to the next part will be the pilot competencies. I often talk about this. You can find a free document on IATA's website. It's lengthy now, but I also have a pilot competency guide that I've made in a way that is easily understood, with pilot competencies listed and explaining how they apply, especially for cadets. And if you want to check it out, there's a link below. You can check it out. Now, the last part that I'm going to focus on, okay, is about your understanding of the business model and what TUI stands for and how they operate. I think you should spend some time on knowing the vision, the mission, the vision, the goals TUI set out and what they're trying to achieve, their business model, and how you fit into it. I think that would help you during this process. I thought to make this video a little bit too long than I wanted it to be, but hopefully you found some value in it. If you have, don't forget to drop a like on the video, and I'd love to see you in the next one.